Good morning. Are you Cory Jermaine Carter? And Mr. Carter is charged with the third-degree felony offense of deadly conduct, discharging a firearm in cause number 24 DCCR 2204. And that offense date is October 13th of 2024. Mr. Nichols has filed, hold on, I'm getting there, a motion to increase bond in Mr. Carter's case. And Mr. Nichols, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Carter was arrested for deadly conduct on October 18th following a shooting at Concord and Delaware in the city of Beaumont, the Honey Stop convenience store. A murder had taken place. He was with the victim of that case. And as the shooting started, he began firing blindly into a crowd and at a building and a vehicle. That's the allegations for this deadly conduct. Procedurally, he's made a $10,000 bond on that case. 2 days later, juvenile parole filed a warrant for him. He is on parole as a juvenile. He has an indeterminate sentence up until the age of 19 for being in possession of a Glock switch last year as a, I guess, 16, maybe 15-year-old. I have Officer Jackson here to testify. Should the court want any more background information about Mr. Carter and what he's accused of?
Yeah, for sure. If he's here, let's hear from him. Good morning, sir. You'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Jackson, how long, well, I can skip all the background, of course, as you. How long have you been a police officer?
16 years.
And are you familiar with Cory Carter?
Very.
You know this individual to your left.
I do.
Is that Cory Carter?
It is.
Can you tell the court briefly your interactions and what you know about him and his criminal history?
Judge, if you allow me a few minutes to expand on that.
For sure.
Of course, you know, I'm part of this unit, special assignment unit, and we've investigated Mr. Carter for years. He's an extremely dangerous person. He knows it and his family knows it. His street name is Stick Up Ed. Just one morning, we had a vehicle pursuit with Mr. Carter. Me and my partner found him in a stolen vehicle, had a car chase with him. He gets out and runs from us. Called his parents. Parents show up, and his mother goes to call him because he's hiding in the woods from us. She calls him, and on her phone says "Stick Up Baby" as well. It's a street name. Mr. Carter has been involved from everything from ag assaults to deadly conducts on people's homes. He's always with a firearm.
Can you tell the court about March of 2023 when you stopped him?
Yeah, so we were looking at Mr. Carter, doing some surveillance on his home. He left out of there with a car full of people. Mr. Carter was in the backseat of his car, full of 4 or 5 handguns out of the car. One of them was on Mr. Carter's person, in his underwear, with a fully automatic Glock.
Did that Glock pistol, was it equipped with what's called a Glock switch?
It is. That's the device that made it fully automatic.
Was that a legal conversion to turn a pistol into a machine gun?
It is.
Yeah.
So we've had a reprieve from Mr. Carter's violence the past year. It took, I think, 10 to 13 felonies to send him to TYC, with the last one being where we arrested him with this automatic handgun.
And so the charge for that would be possession of a prohibited weapon, correct?
And that's correct.
And he is he was sent to TYC on that, and it was released after approximately a year. Is that right?
And that's correct. He got out sometime toward the end of the summer, and since then found his way back into possession of another firearm.
And so on the case that he has currently pending in this court, he's now over 17 years old. He's an adult. He's charged with deadly conduct for something that happened the night of October 13th, 2024, correct?
That's correct. So,
And what can you tell the court about what happened that night at the Honey's Drive-In on Concord in the city of Beaumont.
So me and my partner, Officer Gerard, was in the office a few days after this happened at the Honey's Drive-In, and we're watching evidence videos from that night, the homicide, and we see a subject in the parking lot wearing a red shorts and a white t-shirt, and he's standing around some gas pumps at this convenience store. He's posing in front of some of the gas pumps, taking some pictures. And when the homicide started, a guy from across the street began shooting. And the subject in the white shirt and red pants takes off running through this crowded convenience store. And you could see before he did this, when he was taking pictures, he's manipulating something in his waistband. When he takes off running to the parking lot, you can see what it is. He pulls out a handgun, turns around in a matter of just a second, and just fires a round through the middle of the parking lot. Like nowhere, no aiming, just fires around through the middle of the parking lot, and then continues running through the parking lot.
Now, are you familiar with a social media account belonging to Mr. Carter?
Yeah, so after we finished watching this video, talked to one of the case agents, on one of the detectives that was helping with this case, and talked to him about the person in the white shirt and red shorts and how he wanted to get him identified, and that our detectives, our homicide and robbery detectives, want to talk to him. So after that conversation, myself and Officer Gerard were still in the office, and he's looking through some social media accounts, and where we find this exact gas station the night of the homicide with Mr. Carter, white t-shirt, red shorts, posing in front of a gas pump with a handgun in the waistband.
And Judge, I'm going to mark this states 1 just for purposes of this hearing. And Officer Jackson, do you recognize this photograph I'm showing you?
I do.
Is this one of the pictures taken off of Mr. Carter's social media?
It is.
What's he wearing in this picture?
A white shirt, red shorts, and some tennis shoes.
And what can you see tucked in his waistband?
You can see the extended magazine of a handgun.
And would this picture been taken shortly before the homicide occurred and him firing a shot?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, attended the court and offered evidence for purposes of this hearing only states Exhibit 1.
No, Judge.
It's admitted.
Is Mr. Carter a gang member?
I don't know that he broadcast that as loudly as before. His brother was a gang member. All his associates that he runs with in Beaumont are gang members. But does he put it on a t-shirt or on his social media saying I'm a gang member? I can't testify to that. Okay. But
Are his associates members of YOG?
they are.
Thank you, Officer Jackson. I'll pass it with sir.
Just a few questions.
Also.
Now, and just to the actual case that he's in custody on, were you a part of the initial investigation on that case?
No, it's not.
Okay, so you came in afterwards reviewing footage from that incident?
Yeah, typically the robbery and homicide detectives ask us, our unit, for help on major crimes anyhow. And that morning, me and myself and Officer Gerard was reviewing some of the surveillance footage.
Okay, and you said in reviewing that footage, you could see the homicide that takes place and you see shots being fired to the gas station, correct?
That's correct.
Where Mr. Carter was?
Yes.
Okay. So as shots are fired toward his direction, you say you see him on footage return fire?
I don't know that he returns fire. He just pulls a gun out of his waistband and starts shooting.
Okay.
You'd have to ask him about that. I don't know.
But it definitely could have been in response to the shots that were initially been fired.
Anything's possible, but that I can't testify for that.
As far as your interactions with Mr. Carter, had you had any other interactions since he had been on TYC and been on parole?
Not since he's been out. I have not.
That's
All right.
I
Anything
have no
else?
other questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Officer Jackson.
If I might, Judge.
Yes, sir.
I know his adult history shows maybe just this one arrest, but his juvenile history is packed with extremely violent crimes.
That's what it sounds like. Thank you very much.
And Your Honor, I do have a copy of juvenile court analysis of factors in this case for which it was on, which I can tender to the court for its review for purposes of this hearing.
Yeah, I would like that as well. So he was certified.
No, Your Honor.
No, he wasn't. This is
He
just
is,
the,
this is his juvenile, I'm sorry. I don't, it's from juvenile court. They call it the factors of the case.
okay,
And it was associated with that stop from March of 2023.
The other
He was
case.
found in possession of the Glock switch, and it gives you a pretty good indication of his history and background, Your Honor.
perfect.
He is now, and at the time of this offense committed, he's past age 17. He
Gotcha.
turned 17 back in April, so he's now an adult. But
Gotcha.
this is his first, I believe, interaction as an adult.
Okay.
Oh, no objection there.
All right. Stage 2 is admitted. Okay. Anything else?
No, Your Honor. Just arguing.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I was done, but I'm going to read a little bit more. Thank you very much. Anything else that you want to add, Officer Jackson?
No, ma'am.
Appreciate you being here. All right. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Any witnesses? Mr. Lewis?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Nichols?
Your Honor, I know he's already being held in custody on the juvenile parole hold. It's just my concern. I don't know how long that will last. And $10,000 for what he is accused of doing, coupled with his history, is woefully insufficient to protect the community from Mr. Carter. Typically, someone his age gets the benefit of a doubt, maybe a little leniency, both from me and from the court sometimes. This is not that case, Judge. He has been involved in multiple shootings. He is on parole through the juvenile system for his possession of a legally altered pistol, making it a machine gun. And here he is accused of committing a deadly conduct. In the same, and context matters, Judge, it's while homicide's taking place. And he is not on the offending side of that homicide. But he's also, as you can see with the picture, before that shooting started, he's posing with his firearm. It just happens to be moments before the actual shooting broke out. So I'm asking the court to increase the bond to something that'll protect the community from that.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, just with Mr. Carter, as far as resources, him being 17, recently released, of course, on that parole. The resources that he did have, of course, his family did use to try to bond him out initially, which they did make that bond. They did make the bond. And my understanding is a few days after that, the bondsman made him aware that he had additional bond conditions of having to get a monitor. He came in, got that done immediately without any issues. And then, of course, he wasn't going to be on bond that long, but a few days after that, or within that same week, the warrant came out from the parole hold. So he's been in custody about a week after he made bond. But he did comply fully with the bond that was set, including additional conditions. I'm not representing him on the parole situation, so I don't know what the status of that is as far as hearing wise or any possibilities of his blue warrant being released pending the outcome of this case. If it is, Judge, we would ask that the bond be allowed to stay where it is, especially given the additional bond conditions of the monitoring, which can be transferred, added to house arrest or anything like that if there's any other concerns for his public safety. But with him being 17 at this time, not working, he doesn't have any other resources where he will be able to make a higher bond than what his family was able to make at this time. He doesn't have any property they could sell or bank accounts or savings or anything of that nature. So we're asking Judge that the bond be allowed what it is, in addition to the amended bond conditions they do have, and we actually would ask for 24-hour house arrest if necessary under this matter once if he is released from that parole hold.
Okay, so, Mr. Carter, I'm not sure I've seen anything in a history as bad as yours. Maybe a couple that I can think of that have ended up here. One specifically that ended up in this court on a murder instead of a deadly conduct and went to prison for the rest of his life. But you have been in trouble since you were 11 years old. 11 years old was your first delinquent court probation for a criminal trespass. Then there was a terroristic threat, runaway, expulsion from the alternate education program, another criminal trespass, an evading arrest or detention, violation of juvenile court probation, a theft, 2 more violations of your probation. They keep continuing. You keep getting chances. This is back in 20. This started in 18. So we're now in 2020. Another evading detention, another evading detention, an unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, 2 aggravated robberies. They still put you on probation for that. Then another violation of your court-ordered probation. And finally, possession of the Glock switch. And you got sent to, got some, little bit, sounds like, not much time in TYC. And now we've got you out doing this. You are what is making our county and city a scary place to live. You and your buddies. I'm going to grant the motion. And I'm going to raise your bond in your case to $250,000. I'm going to order as a condition of that bond, if you're able to make it, GPS monitoring device and house arrest. We will reset your case for an announcement and get moving on it as quickly as we can. You can go back with the bailiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Thank you, Officer Jackson, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor.